Hi, welcome to Conversations with a Wounded Healer. I'm your host, Sarah Buino. I'd like to start with a little call to action this week. If you are a subscriber on iTunes, I would really appreciate if you would be able to rate and potentially review our podcast. It really helps a lot. Just takes a couple seconds. I know I often forget to do it, even with my favorite podcasts. So that's why I'm asking if you wouldn't mind doing that for us. So today I wanted to talk about, I fucked up. I'm just going to say that straight off the bat. So I do a lot of presentations and did one this weekend on self-compassion. And after the presentation, I always get back the critiques. And I was running through them pretty quickly, and often it's a lot of the same things. I let people talk too much. I do too much audience participation for some people's thought. And I was looking through them and I came across one that I stopped in my tracks and I laughed, but not in a funny way, in a bad way, because this person said too much talk about emotions. And I laughed because I was horrified, and it made me angry. It made me angry, not that this person was saying I was talking too much about emotions, but I was angry that a therapist could even think that there is such a thing as too much talk about emotions. And I snapped a picture of it, immediately posted it to my Instagram and my Facebook, and, just kind of with the little emoji with the hand on the forehead, just saying like, oh my God, this person is a therapist. And I immediately get, a ton of people also laughing at this person with me. And they were as aghast as I was, because it's sad. And then the next day, one of my grad school colleagues, who I haven't seen in years, and we didn't actually know each other in grad school. It was right after grad school we met. I think we've only met like 2 or 3 times, but those kind of Facebook friends, right? That you're like mutually just like, hey, glad you're doing well. So he comments on the post and says, I wonder if this person actually deserves a little bit of compassion. And it makes me curious how many times my comments have been posted on social media. And my instant reaction to that, I knew I was defensive, and I knew I didn't want to come off as defensive, right? I wanted to make sure that I am proving that I am self-reflective enough or whatever. I wrote back and I said, I get it. I hear what you're saying. I don't feel moved to take it down because this person can't be identified, and I'm willing to tolerate the consequences of this. So, and I still felt defensive, but I wasn't mad at this person for posting because I did understand what they were saying. And then later that night, I read something in the Refuge Recovery book that made me go, if I had good sound effects, I would actually like make that car screeching noise, but my mouth is just where we're going to have to stay. So this chapter in Refuge Recovery is about communication and community. And under communication, it says, when we have wise intentions, we abstain from speaking harmful words. The Buddha classified speech that is harsh, malicious, vain, untrue, or gossipy as being harmful misuse of communication. Being wise and careful about what we say, write, and otherwise communicate will help us in our process of recovery, and it will build a safe and welcoming community. A good basic guideline for our communication is to reflect on whether what we're saying is true, useful, kind, and appropriately timed. And that also made me think of the acronym THINK that one might apply to communication, which is it thoughtful, honest, interesting, necessary, and kind? So very much like this passage right here. And I instantly thought, well, it was honest and it was interesting, but it was not necessary. It was not kind. And it was thoughtful in a way that I was making sure I wouldn't overtly hurt anyone, but it wasn't mindful in the way that I was hurting myself, because those are not my values. To make fun of people, I realized that what I was doing was shaming, and I wasn't shaming this person to their face. So that is what quote unquote made it okay in my mind, that I wasn't hurting this person directly. But in my value system and my belief system, I do believe that shame of any sort is putting negative energy out into the world. And whether this person knows it or not, I hurt them and I hurt myself in the process. And so after I had that realization, I commented on Facebook and just said, hey guys, I'm rethinking this and I've decided I'm going to take it down. So I did. And before I took it down, I left it up for a little bit just to see if anybody else had comments. And the original guy who called me out, commented back and he said, hey, I appreciate that you heard what I had to say and just want to let you know I've been the person to receive that before. And so that's why I wanted to speak up and say something. So Charles, I don't know if you're listening, but I appreciate that you had the balls to call me out. And as I said on the post too, I'm appreciating myself and grateful to myself for not just spiraling into shame and really giving myself space to take a deeper, honest look at what my motives were behind that post and really take a look if it was in my values or not. And I decided it wasn't. So hope that might be helpful for you. So thanks so much for listening. And thanks as always to Andrea Klunder and Edwin Ruiz at the Creative Imposter Studios for the editing, Liam O'Donnell, my friend, for the album art photo, and Ben Mueller for our theme music. You can find us at my website at www.headhearttherapy.com/podcast. We're also on Facebook and Twitter, and you can follow us on Spotify or subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, bye-bye.